Exciting music is happening. There's a stage. Oh my God! Thank you guys. It's so exciting to be here. Yeah. Welcome back to the Security Bros. I'm Ken. This is my co-host with the most toast. I call him James. You call him Jimbo Supreme. Jimbo Supreme. Now that Trump is El Presidente, do people even need security systems, or is everything safe enough as it is?
Cancel your subscriptions. Everything's safe. They're deporting all the criminals.
Yeah, criminals are gone, so that's fine.
We're refunding the police.
Yeah, police are in, criminals are out.
Police are in, police are hot, criminals are out, police are not, or criminals are not. I don't think crime just goes away just because there's a different president. That's obviously not how
what
this
the hell?
works.
So then what are we doing?
What are we doing here? Barbara F. Walter says, violence from the left is likely to grow if Trump solidifies his power and either cancels future elections or rigs the system to ensure he can't lose again. There's been a lot of this talk that Trump is going to get in and not leave.
Well, he's an older man, so
there's only so much time.
He's going to leave at some point. Yeah.
He left once, right? I mean, granted, he was kicking and screaming a bit, but he left once. He'll leave again. I hate that the politics has gotten so hot. I'm not that old, but even when I was younger, it wasn't this spicy all the time. You know, Kamala has been called vice president. Oh, wait, that's actually what she is. She's been called a shit vice president.
We can't stand you, you're a vice president. The worst.
She's been called dangerous. She's been called lunatic, right? From the Democrats, you got threat to democracy, a rapist, an existential threat, exactly like Hitler, following Hitler's playbook, a dictator, a super spreader, obsessed with revenge, disaster for the climate, misogynist. Funny enough, so I when I was making my notes for this, I went and I typed like Trump is a, and I was able to find kind of a lot of stuff. People were like, oh, he's a fucking fascist and all this stuff. And then I went and like Harris is a, and it was like vice president. There wasn't a whole lot.
Haters can actually be one of your biggest benefits. I mean, even with the videos that we've put out, the videos that got like the most views are the ones where somebody actually put some like hate into their comment. So maybe it was like the video got a decent number of views, and then because of that, it attracted haters, because haters are only attracted to success. Like, no one's hating on like the homeless guy out on the street.
That's a fair point.
They're only attracted to trying to tear down people that they view as bigger than themselves. Even on with our videos, when they get like just a decent number of views, even if it's like 100 views, bam, hater. And then what happens is, as soon as that comment comes on, it's like the video does even better because of it. And I think that Trump has done very well by taking so much hate and kind of being a champ about it. I mean, the guy clearly has a thick skin, and my suspicion is he knows a lot of the way that he speaks attracts a lot of hatred. In so doing, he also attracts a lot of love, because right. I noticed there's few people that have such a cult following, if you will, as Trump. But with that, you're also going to attract, because everything in the universe like attracts a balance. So you're not going to have someone that has like this really hardcore following that doesn't also have people that really hate them. Right. Sort of like Taylor Swift. You got the Swifties. You equally have people that just can't stand the chick. Right. It's like hard for a Swiftie to understand that there's people that really just don't like her that much. They're like, how can you not be in love with her? Same thing with someone who's like really pro-Trump. They just can't understand, how can you not just love this guy? Right. I've found for myself, I've said this, like, I need more haters in my life, because you ever notice the most successful people, they have a lot of haters. No one takes any more hate than Donald Trump.
A lot of times he doesn't even acknowledge it.
He knows how to work the game. Yeah. But then you look at anybody where 1 minute he could be giving them a glowing recommendation, and if they ask him even one question he doesn't like, or if they disagree with him even a little bit, you notice how quickly he seems to be really antagonistic towards them.
Coming up with nicknames for everybody, you know.
Yeah, I think it was like some reporter, 1 second he was saying all this really nice stuff, and then they disagreed with him on one thing, or they asked him some question. I can't remember what it was. And then he turns around and he pulls a 180 on them and just starts treating them really horribly, and it makes it seem like he has this thin skin. But what I wonder if that's just all part of the show for him.
And a lot of people, actually, his supporters, love that about him. They love the nicknames.
I mean, he will straight up just trash talk.
Well, there's that
and
too.
say horrible stuff that makes him look like a poor sport.
Yep.
I just find this incredibly petty. I have been, I think, nothing but polite to the president. The level of immaturity is beyond words.
Which makes it look like he has actual thin skin.
Maybe I missed
the
that. I
show,
thought you were talking about the nickname stuff. I didn't realize you were talking about the actual.
It makes it seem like he gets butthurt so easily.
Yep.
Believe me, my temperament is very good, very calm, but we will be respected.
You were either 100% behind me in my camp,
or you're dead to me,
or you are my enemy.
Well, that was his kind of persona and stuff going all the way back to his show that he was in, you know, and his famous tagline, "You're fired."
Kamala, you're fired.
You know, he's the hard guy who just, you know, calls it like it is, right? Do you think that with a change in presidency, that businesses and people, depending on who gets into office, feel that they need to go above and beyond to like secure themselves more, be more secure, buy more security systems, or buy more guns, or you know whatever your version of being more secure is?
But when it comes to security, people usually wait for something to happen first, and then they get into a panic, and then they make panic decisions like, I have to have the security now. Very few people ever foresee issues and then think, you know what, why don't we put some stuff in place to make sure that my future concerns never materialize.
I will say it affects our purchasing of security in our business. You know, it affects us. Like in the last Trump presidency, he did a ban on certain products from China. Actually, it didn't affect our business too much because we don't do government work. But any business who does do government work, they had to eliminate that product completely from their stock and their shelves, and any kind of ordering that they did, they weren't allowed to use it at all.
Well, we did run into something with that. So
actually, it has affected us, but we'll get to that.
A few people, they reached out because what he did, one of the things that he got involved with, I think you mentioned the NDAA stuff.
NDAA, yep.
Part of that included something with security cameras, and you had to use NDAA compliant security cameras, which, funny enough, still come from China. They just get a heavy markup from suppliers, like a heavy markup. We have specific security cameras we like to use, and of course they come from China, just like all security cameras. And same thing as we've said in many videos, we're very particular about what we use, because if you grab random stuff, you don't know what the issues with that device might be in the future, and so we like to try out our own equipment, and the equipment we find works the best, we like to just use that over and over. It's better for the customers, it's better for us. It means we can start stocking certain parts. If you're using lots of different types of cameras, you can't start to stock them because there's no point. And so we have certain security cameras that we stock and we like because they're high quality and they don't break down very often. So some other potential customers contacted me and said, we need these special NDAA cameras. They have to follow the government rules and they have to pay for these extra special cameras. In general, the parts have become more expensive because of all of his tariffs.
Yeah.
He's viewed as the guy that's good for the economy, and maybe he is in general, but I can tell you, at least for us and our clients and our industry, those tariffs make prices go a lot higher because everybody keeps tagging on markup, which means that less people can afford it.
All cameras, well, most cameras come from China. They just get a different name slapped on.
Yeah, they do.
Everyone does it, that's fine, but what's annoying is when you see the exact same camera that's NDAA compliant as this other one that's not NDAA compliant. And the thing is, when you get NDAA compliant camera, that now is multiple times more expensive because it has this little checkbox that meets the government standards. What pisses me off is that we go out of our way, right, like you said, to find a good product and then order them in bulk directly. And then when customers have to use an NDAA camera or a compliant camera, they have to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars more per camera because of this ban.
It's meant to put a smudge on China, so it looks like, oh, China's putting out these cameras that spy on you.
They're spying on you.
Trump will do this, or politicians do this, and these guys are not tech savvy at all. And I've seen so many articles that they just run with it because it sells views. But these cameras are not spying on you. And if people actually understood the way they worked and the way they're connected to recorders and stuff, they would understand it's not really possible for them to spy on you.
If they were to spy on you, the camera would need to be connected to the internet. And how we do it, this is totally from this whole thing. But how we do it is the cameras aren't even connected to the internet. They're connected directly to the recorder, and then the recorder is separately. Anyway, but
That is true. I think that's worth mentioning, is that there are some cameras that do spy on you.
Yep.
They're called spy cameras. But there's also regular cameras that they can, if they're cloud cameras, where
Yeah.
they connect to the cloud. Okay, yes. And I think Ring had an issue where
yeah, a bunch of them have had issues.
they were getting hacked. Sure.
There's like a baby monitor company
So if
that
we're
was having
talking
issues.
about something like Arlo or something that is a do-it-yourself kind of product, sure. The way that commercial systems are connected, which is what we do, is that the cameras are not on the same network as the internet. The cameras themselves don't even have a way to get out to the internet to spy on you, even if they were connected that way. And that's not how they're traditionally used, so it would be a little silly to put spyware into a commercial security camera.
There was an issue a number of years back where the government, I believe it was, had received, they ordered a bunch of, I think it was Logitech keyboards. And somehow the Logitech keyboards had some sort of, it was basically tracking the keystrokes and sending that data,
Somewhere else.
well, back to China.
I actually think that would be a bigger security concern than cameras. What is China going to do with like millions of security cameras like watching alleys and dumpsters, which is like what everybody wants to see. They want to see their front door, they want to see their dumpsters. These cameras are not sitting, nobody's asking us to install cameras pointed at like sensitive information. No one has us pointing cameras at like the bank vault where you like put in the code to get in the thing. They specifically either mask that off or have us aim the camera such that that is not visible. They don't have it behind the computer where you can see someone logging in or see private information. You have it aimed at something like in an elevator to see if people are scratching when people do vandalism in elevators. They'll have them pointed at things like dumpsters.
Certain communities feel that with Trump being president, they're going to be significantly more unsafe and targeted.
So communities that have connections south of the border.
Probably your Mexican communities. Some have been saying that the black community is going to be under attack. I've heard a bunch of people saying, okay, a bunch might be an overstatement, but I've heard people saying that Trump wants to make black people slaves again. So we're just like taking it all like way back to the dark times. Okay.
Okay.
So with Trump now as president, certain communities, I can't laugh when I say this, dude. It made me seem like a dick bag. What are you trying to give me so now with Trump as president, well, I mean, he's actually said he's going to do a mass deportation of illegals, right? What are your thoughts on this?
He probably will. People who are here illegally, he'll probably have them pushed out, yeah.
I think so.
That one is maybe more than a possibility. The slavery thing, to me, I think of that in terms of a spectrum. So you have like freedom over here, slavery over here, and one way to shift people more towards slavery, one of the best ways to do that is to drive up inflation so that people can never really get ahead. And that's not specifically Trump. That's every president, that's every administration. They keep driving that up. I mean, that's why to me, I think economy is maybe the most important thing for a country, because when you have a lot of money, you end up having a lot more leverage to make really great allies. And you look at some countries that are very small, like Monaco. People that are hanging out in Monaco, they have a lot of money. And you see Monaco getting invaded? No, because it's a wealthy country. Because of that, other countries around it protect it. They want to make sure that country stays where it is because it's in a great place. It's very useful to other countries, and yet it's very small. And it has little to no military. Maybe, I think last I checked, it maybe has like 300 people in their military. It's a very small military. It might be bigger than that, but it's very tiny.
They get invaded with the Grand Prix.
yeah, but you don't see them getting invaded. And so to me, I view economy as even more important than something like, in today's age, it's even more important than military. Get economy on track, booming, be wealthy. There's a lot to be said for having a lot of money and having a lot of cash and not being in debt.
I think that's why you saw Trump win with such an overwhelming majority of the popular vote and Electoral college, thank you. Because economy is such a big deal to everybody, and that's something that I don't think Harris quite had going for her in her presentation. Trump's whole thing was, we're going to get the economy, we're going to make you rich again, we're going to make you healthy again. And I don't think the Harris campaign quite nailed it the way Trump's campaign did with that. And I think that's why you saw just a landslide victory the way we did.
It's kind of funny. Somebody explained this to me once, and it's so true, where every election, people don't really vote for change. What people vote for is to keep things as much the same as possible. As crazy as Trump can seem to a lot of people, compared to the alternative, it actually seemed like a vote towards normalcy, like back towards something that we had before, as opposed to like going off into some new direction. People are very uncomfortable with change. And so even when someone's running on the platform of like change, it's like this pendulum, and they're like change, but change back to where we came from. Not going off into this like frontier, because most people don't want to go off into a new frontier. They want to keep things normal. And so that's kind of what, I mean, even his whole slogan, make America great again. Like, it's assumed that it was great, we kind of fell from some greatness, and we're going back.
That's an interesting point that you make, because wasn't Obama's entire thing, wasn't it change?
Everybody runs on change. Yeah, it's just a word.
Right.
And nobody is consciously thinking, oh, I hate change. I had never thought about that before. But when you do think of it that way, a lot of this makes a lot more sense why you get a Democrat elected, and then you get a Republican elected, and then a Democrat, and then a Republican. And it tends to have this swing back and forth and back and forth. And in general, I would say the United States is still trending in some direction, but it goes there a little slower because it's kind of doing this pendulum thing.
It's kind of like a balancing effect, right? You go one way a bit and it makes these people happy for a time, and then you go this way for a bit and it makes these people happy for a time. And then you got you and me right in here, and we're never happy.
Trump isn't going to turn people into slaves. I think he's going to try, at least, to get the economy pumping out something good. If he reduces taxes a lot, he's probably going to just shift it over to tariffs. Tariffs are also taxes. And those tariffs, those taxes still get pushed to all the consumers. And we've talked about this before, where all taxes, it's never like you can just tax the rich or just tax businesses. All taxes are paid by consumers. If someone's rich, it's usually because they have businesses that belong to them.
Yeah.
And those businesses will pay the tax, but they're going to build that tax into the cost of the product. And then this is going to get passed on to consumers. And sometimes it's like from one business to another business, and eventually it gets passed at, every business keeps tacking on the cost of those taxes as it goes down until it eventually gets to a consumer who pays all the taxes.
He is big on the tariffs, or at least he says he's going to be big on the tariffs. He claims it won't raise the cost, which to me, I don't understand, because say you got a truck being imported from China and it's $50,000. What does he say? He's going to put like 100 or 200% tariff or something on goods?
The only
It's
way,
not like it's going to magically get cheaper now that it has cost twice as much to import it from China.
unless you're doing price controls. So unless you actually tell the person making this selling to the consumer, you can't raise the price. So now you're paying more, and now you're just making less profit, but you can't sell it at a higher price. I don't think he's going to do a price control.
Thank God I don't think anyone's doing price controls. I know Kamala floated that for a bit.
Did he mention what's the point of putting tariffs on China or any other country? What's the point of the tariffs? Money for the government, or is he just trying to stick it to China?
He's trying to stick it to China. I think he was trying to make more money for the U.S., and he's trying to incentivize production in the United States. I'm 100% for bringing more manufacturing, more production of items. Like, I think that'd be super cool if the United States was almost self-sufficient with everything. However, I don't think tariffing the hell out of some other country is your ticket to making people be like, oh, I want to do business in the United States. My plan as your president is to, I'm running for president, by the way. My plan is that you make it so good for businesses to do business in the United States that they don't even want to think about going somewhere else.
There's a company called John Deere that makes tractors. I don't know if they moved their entire manufacturing process, but at least they moved something to Mexico. Trump specifically said he's going to stick it to John Deere. His point was John Deere thinks they can go to Mexico, produce this product for cheaper, and sell it for the same price as they did, 5 years ago in the U.S. He was like, no way. He was like, I'm going to, and make this extra profit. And he was like, no way, because I'm going to stick you with tariffs. And I'm like, yeah, see, there's the problem, because John Deere is trying to sell the tractors for the same price.
Right.
That
so they're
would be
doing what they have to do to sell them for a lower
because
price.
everybody else's
Right.
price has been going up, and they're
Right.
trying to keep the price at a price we can
Look at us.
can afford. And
We order
Trump
our
is like,
cameras from China because we want to sell them to our customers for a reasonable price. If we
So-
buy them from a company in the U.S., then
Right,
it's
so-
like 5 times the price.
So Trump, just like Kamala, all their policies, they're trying to force companies to and force their price up. He's like, no, you won't be able to sell it for the same price because I'm going to force you to sell it for higher. Well, if they had it in the U.S., they would have also had to sell it for higher. So it doesn't matter what you do. I'm going to make sure you have to sell your products at a higher price, so we have inflation no matter what. And I know that's not maybe how Trump is trying to sell it, but that is the end result. Why not make America like the best place to do business? Right now, what America is doing is the same thing that other countries that have failed miserably have done. And that is to say, oh, things are going bad here. Instead of fixing it, let's just put a big wall. No pun intended. But let's put a big wall that keeps people from like getting out. So we want to stop John Deere from getting out. We want to stop these people from getting out. So instead of making America the best place to do manufacturing, let's just make the other place worse to do manufacturing.
It just seems like the simplest option. You make it so it's so easy and so profitable and so good to do business here that you're like, oh, I want to go do business there. And then win-win, the business does well, the customers do well, and if all of those people are doing well, then if the government is taxing you a little bit, then they do well, because a little bit of a lot is better than a lot of a little. So if you enjoyed this video, like it so we know, and share it so your friends know. Bye.